We have a lot of problems on the left-hand side at Arsenal. If only we could sign some players to make the difference. Who's this lad? He looks all right. Is he inverting? Oh. Eze's release clause has apparently expired. Bring me Morgan Rodgers or Rafael Leao. Is anyone having Tyler Dibling? Now, I know he's probably going to Everton, but he fits the skill set, and I'm a big fan of his abilities, people. I hope everyone's doing well and safe. Happy Friday, as usual, to you and your loved ones. I hope this year has been great for you. I hope July was amazing for you lot. And I hope August, happy new month, by the way, is filled with joy for you and your loved ones and great health and bigger and better stuff. And I extend that to the rest of the year. Smash the like button, join the conversation, etc., etc. It's the second live stream of the day. Sorry, I'm swearing at you lot. Where's my manners? I big up you lot. Forgive me. I didn't think about that one, but that was a bit mad. Like, that was a bit mad doing that. But yeah, I've almost thrown myself off. Yeah, big up yourselves. Join the conversation, etc. Let me know what you guys have to say. DG, 1 second. What's YouTube saying here? Bit weird. Okay, I think we're still here. But what have you said? DG, your mods are giving me timeouts for no reason now, just because I called them out on their abuse of power week men. First thing I'll say, mods, allow it. Yeah, don't, just because you get triggered by a comment or better yet an opinion, don't do any of that. We've got a great platform here. What I would say to you, Earth, is behave yourself. I'm not saying you're not, but behave yourself. Just, be mindful, because, maybe the way you're coming across isn't necessarily nice. Mods, don't abuse your power. Every year we kind of flush out mods and then get the new ones in. So yeah, big up yourselves. Ryan, I apologize, because you've been here for a minute and I've only recently made your mod. One love. A man said, "Woi, DG smiling again. Good to see. Smash the lights." Look at this idiot, man. But big up yourself. Oh, K's back. Big up yourself. I hope you're doing well and safe, man. I hope everyone is, man. At the end of the day, we're happy about Arsenal. We're sad about Arsenal. We want signings. We want this. We want that. But I can't promise we'll win stuff. I can't promise we'll be happy. I can't promise we won't. What I can promise you lot is that I'll be here every step of the way. Now, yesterday, obviously, social media is crazy, but what I would say, social media is mad. Like, again, I just find people, and when it comes to football, emotional. I'm not speaking to those that praise when you deserve praise, ask questions when you ask questions, but mainly like the general football fans that do too much. There was a point, yeah, fans used to fight me on YouTube and on social media when I tried to say Martin Odegaard cannot talk to Ozil in the topic of creativity. That's not what I'm here for. You can't go from gassing up Odegaard to that level to now doing too much. And I wouldn't say he's amazing yesterday, but I do think there's agendas. You cannot tell. I've watched the game twice. You can't tell me he was the worst player on the pitch. Again, I'm not talking about question marks, but Odegaard's getting it. Saka's getting it. Raya's getting it. And don't get it twisted. Clearly, Raya's been drinking too much in Hong Kong and enjoying himself. But how many times has that man saved us? I've watched the goal again, yeah. And I think, I can't even remember. I should, but you had Lewis Skelly in midfield, right? You had Raya, who obviously played the pass, and you had someone on the left-hand side, one of our centre halves. Looking back, I think Raya should have played it to, I think it was Kivior actually, should have played it. I'm not saying Kivior's not trusted, doesn't have good passing lanes and whatnot, but that's the first thing. I think, Lewis Skelly can evade pressure and all of that. Okay, dodgy pass. I do think Miles Lewis Skelly was fouled. Do think he took one touch too many, showed his age. Obviously, Raya's caught in the transition. He's off his line. It's a great goal from a Spurs perspective, right? Everybody needs to hold themselves accountable. But I hate to say it, mistakes happen. I understand the frustration. I understand. I would say there's fans that can comprehend that, like, it is preseason, mix and blend. Don't get too excited. We're not going to cry over preseason necessarily. But I do think there's fans that overplay on that. It's just preseason. And then I think there's some fans that are mad illogical. And what I would say, if you go back to the 2022-23 season, where obviously it's a bit different because we're expecting to fight for leagues and stuff, but breath of fresh air, got the signings in early, preseason was great. And it was like a house on fire type of thing, really. For me, I can't really see anything new. I can't really see an attempt at anything new beyond, it looks like we're a bit innovative in how we press and the zone set up in the press and obviously set pieces and things like that. But I understand the frustration because watching it against Spurs, it was the same thing we're used to. Sideways, uninspiring football. You're not really moving the ball quick enough to dislodge a very good shape, a well-shaped side, in which they will be and do look under Thomas Frank. Still just crossing the ball to the point where, as much as I mean, people even getting at Gyökeres, let alone rivals, our own fans. What are you supposed to do in 15 minutes? Like, I don't think it's as white and black as you. You can tell me, we're going to sign Eze, Rodrigo, Morgan Rodgers, Leao, Gyökeres is here, Saka's doing his thing. I don't think you slap them all on the pitch and we're amazing. I don't. I believe that defensively, if there is a player that is better than Lewis Skelly, if there is a player that's better than Timber, if there is a player, a goalkeeper better than Raya in the two centre halves, I think it's a plug and play then, because I can see the tactics and the ethos and things. I think you'll be sadly mistaken if you think, obviously, we need to recruit. We need to recruit. But you'll be sadly mistaken if you think you just slap these players on the pitch, all our issues are done. And a lot of you know this. A lot of you have been singing that. It's a double-edged sword. You have to get the tools and you have to utilize the tools, but you also have to set up the conditions, really. We're not creating enough. Creating chances shouldn't be an issue. Whatever you say about this unit, we're clearly frustrated about Martinelli. Reece Nelson is past his sell-by day. I'm only fitting his name for the sake of it. Gabriel Jesus needs to go and he can't stay fit. Marino, when he goes up front, we know that's not the thing, but it works. Havertz, he might not be anyone's cup of tea, but I don't think he's bad. Martinelli and Trossard make you want to pull your hair out. We understand it, and Saka's amazing. But some of they're not terrible players. If they all became available, obviously, I'm not saying everyone's going to rock up like Saka would have the pick of clubs, but they would be at decent clubs. They would be playing to a decent level. They probably would look a lot better. We're not getting the most out of them, really. There was a point, and Arteta, I don't know how you do it. I don't know where your head shape is at. I personally am starting to think two things. I think you've got too many options now, if that makes sense. I think you've got too many options. I think you look in the 2022-23 season, I think you didn't have to overthink it. You had a small side, not saying I want a small squad and all of that, but I think you just done what needed to be done. I do think he was burnt that season, which you have to learn. We got better defensively, but I think you're too much now. And it's a double-edged sword, because I want my manager to overthink. I want us to have elements of U-shaped football. I'm not saying from minute 0 to minute 90 we go forward. I want set pieces to just be an extra, but I think you're too focused on the opponent. Like, once we win, when we have the ball, obviously there's an emphasis on what we need to do. But it's a case of when the opposition lose it, we lose it, how quickly can we retrieve it? Which I get that. But I do think, to a degree, attack is the best form of defense. I do think there needs to be a trade-off. Cool, you want us to be great defensively, I'm not against that. But could you maybe move certain players around? Could could Saka stay in further up the field? He might get you 10 more goals, in which that could be defended, because he's not tracking back, but that might just win games for us. I think there's a lot of stuff Arteta needs to do, and I wouldn't describe him as necessarily an attacking manager, but you've shown me you've got the capacity to do it. Different time scale and whatnot, but you did it in 2022-23. Whatever people have to say, and some of these people are failing now, you got a trick out. We didn't want to get there, but you got a trick out of Marino in that kind of role. You got an attacking trick out of Granit Xhaka. We all know Declan Rice ain't going to be the most amazing number 8, but you've got something out of that. At some point, Martin Odegaard, Smith Rowe when he was here, Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, they've all had great seasons or great attacking seasons. So you've got the capacity to do it. And I think you want to do it, but are you doing it? Because that left-hand side, it's not saying much. I think as much as the left-hand side, like the left-hand side would be where our conversation starts from, I think people are discounting centre mid or central regions. I don't feel there's enough movement. I don't feel there's an ability to pivot. Like, I'm not against it. You want to do inverted left back and you want to be slow and patient, I'm all for that. But you see, when it's not working or we need to try something else, I don't want to say throw the kitchen sink, but bring something different to the table. What I would say with Lewis Skelly and David Raya, those mistakes are going to keep happening, whether it's going to be them or someone else. It happens. I've seen Van Dijk and Alisson fuck up at the Emirates against us. I've seen Ederson make mistakes. It doesn't happen too many times. You can count on one hand Raya's dropped some clangers. Obviously, this is pre-season. He's done that. This happened against Crystal Palace. Remember a couple of years ago, give or take, we beat Spurs. But or it might have been last year. We beat Spurs, but he sold Partey short. That's going to happen. When you have a ball-playing keeper, that is going to happen. You're going to get caught and look like a dickhead. Anyone that thinks Raya is just going to stay in his box, that's a myth. He's like a centre-half when we have the ball. He's a passing lane. That is going to happen. The problem is we need to minimize that. And the issue is, obviously, that's just another talking point on top of the frustration. So the best thing is that it's only preseason. The worst thing is that we're seeing the same old things. And ultimately, if nothing changes, nothing changes. To which people, it leads me to ask you this, because I saw this tweet And I'd love to know you lot's thoughts. Do you think our issues on the left are mainly down to the personnel or the system? Or if you do think it's both, what kind of percentage would you give it in either or direction? Do you see Isaac going Liverpool? Yeah, I do, man. He's gone AWOL. He's obviously gone AWOL. He's apparently training in Spain. Obviously, is it Craig Hope? I'm never going to praise journalists, but I think it's Craig Hope. Craig Hope, a Newcastle journalist. He's done very good on not only Isaac and Newcastle or Isaac and Liverpool, but what kind of what's got there. And he made an interesting point way before the season, the last season ended. He made a point in that I think at one point there was an old sporting director at Newcastle, right? There was a contract offer on the table for Isaac. Obviously, good player, key player. This is before they won the League Cup and whatnot. Is on the table. Obviously, I think it was Paul Mitchell. He's come in. Newcastle in a peculiar financial kind of situation. Now, when you disregard why you need to give Isaac a new deal, keep him kind of sweet, and just look at the finances, he came in on a tip where, oi, we're spending a lot of money. There's issues. Why are we giving someone that is under contract more money for a number of years, more money? So that seemed like it was the first kind of thing that happened. Naturally, obviously, Isaac's going down in folklore at Newcastle. I know it's getting sour, but Liverpool are one of the best clubs in the world. They just won stuff. They're strengthening it. You don't need to be asked twice to sign for Liverpool. So it makes sense. Clearly, whether it's Liverpool getting in his ear, his agents, or Isaac, there's a willingness to get the deal done, because I know some players throw their toys out the pram, but Isaac's not an idiot. You know you've got 2 to 3 years on your deal. You're only going to do your part if Liverpool have given you some level of an assurance. You do your part, we'll do mine. Because again, Newcastle got money. They don't have to, in theory, sell Isaac, but you don't want an unhappy player. And they do need to still agree things. But Isaac is only going to do this if Liverpool are not, Isaac's only going to do this if Liverpool are not, if they've told him, you're going to go, we're going to get this done for you. We're going to get this. So he's doing his part, going AWOL and whatnot. Clearly, I know, or apparently the first bid from Liverpool to Newcastle has been rejected. How many times do you see the first bid accepted? Purely Newcastle. I do think Newcastle, on one hand, they're accepting he's going to go and we want to get as much money as we can and kind of, quote unquote, bleed Liverpool to a degree dry. Maybe stalling to look for a replacement. Maybe an element of stalling in the hope of convincing and whatnot. Obviously, where you look at Newcastle, 1 minute it's Ollie Watkins, then it's Benjamin Sesko, then it's Visa. And it's probably been a terrible season on the recruitment front, or pre-season for Newcastle fans, really, because half your targets are either hijacked, getting rejected, etc. It's obviously a bitter pill to swallow, losing Isaac, and the only winners are Isaac and Liverpool, innit? Because man, Isaac, Hugo Ekitike, Salah, I still wouldn't even rule out, even if they get Isaac, getting Rodrigo. Obviously, Salah's not going to be there forever, but you've got Isaac and Rodrigo that could be 2 of the 3 man front 3 for a while. Now we're going to see what Onslaught's about. So, yeah, I do see him going there. I do have Liverpool as the favourites. I've got them as the favourites now with an Isaac recruitment. I still think, I know there's no evidence and there's teething problems, but I still think City are going to hit back. I give them the luxury. I'm exaggerating, but if there's been 10 years, and they've won 9 of the last 10 Premier Leagues, and they've not only, it's been shit once, I do think they're afforded that. The one thing I would say is I'm keen, generally around half of the teams that you'd expect to, if not necessarily compete for the Premier League trophy or win it, kind of make up the European places. I'm keen to see what's going on. Arsenal, obviously, we've been talking about us from a tactical point of view. We've got our own players coming in. Now we're going to see what Onslaught's about, really. Not even that we're going to see what he's about, but he's made some radical changes. Some players have left. Players have got a gel in, all of that kind of jazz people. Chelsea singing from the same hymn sheet. Man United remind me of Arsenal when we started getting back to basics, because they're playing once a week. Obviously, there's pressure on Amarin. They brought in a couple of players. They're linked with Sesko. They've got Mbeumo, etc. Spurs finally have a competent manager in all phases of play in Thomas Frank. You can't rule out Newcastle, but you don't know what they're saying. I extend everything I've been saying to to Manchester City. So it'd be interesting, man. It'd be very interesting to see how everything pans out. But once again, do you think our issues on the left are mainly down to personnel or the system? Having a good and fit squad is a good headache to have, 100%. Reports, big up you, Tefels, forgive me for becoming a member. Reports coming out, Arteta does not want to sell Nelly. You think it's true or just trying to drive the price up? What I would say is, what price can you drive up for Martinelli? What price? Because I do think in the football world, there's teams that will have him, but maybe not for Arsenal, for what Arsenal want. And he's on big wages. How much are we looking at? some would say, raw, whether we rate Martinelli or not, we're seeing what some other clubs are doing and selling for players, and he's young and all these things. Brazil international, maybe you could get 70 million. I think you're dreaming. I think you'd be lucky to probably get 40, 50 for him at this moment in time. There is the element of, obviously, if Martinelli goes somewhere else, the penny drops, he's amazing. I understand why Arteta would want to keep him beyond the obvious. And you're in a dangerous scenario when you say what I'm about to say. Martinelli knows the system going back the other way defensively. From where I'm talking about a winger going backwards, you know the territory we're stepping into. He knows the system. He clearly likes him because, give or take, he's still been, whether that's been an issue of ours or not, he's still been the first choice left winger. And obviously, it's kind of all gravy where you look at Martinelli to a degree, in that you bought him for 6 million. He's clearly repaid the price tag. You're making serious profit regardless, whether he wants to go, whether he wants to go in a World Cup year, whether he's keen on any move, whether anyone's going to give him 190 grand a week or anything close, whether he wants to stay at Arsenal, I don't know. But I wouldn't say they're necessarily, from what I'm about to say, I don't think these names are like want away players, but I do think you have to, every player is available in it, and everyone's got a price, and sometimes contracts or the length of a contract plays a part. But I do think if you were to put into subcategories of players who could leave Arsenal either this year, next year, or whatever, you obviously have the Reece Nelsons, in which I am drinking the preseason Kool-Aid. I wouldn't be against him playing left wing. Arsenal doing mad things to me. Bring me Eze and Leao and these guys. But you've got the Nelsons, the Vieiras, the Lokongas. I might be missing out some names, but we all know them guys that are past their sell-by date. You could probably throw Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus in there. The caveat of Gabriel Jesus is you aren't fit. Who is going to buy you? Similar logic. And with Zinchenko, I hope you lot are coming around to what I was saying, that we need another left back. Lewis Skelly is, on paper, you're playing 50, 60 games. And you could get injured or suspended. Calafiori, you're a centre-half and left-back option. I don't know if you're going to stay fit. Do we keep Zinchenko because of having a body? Because 2 injuries or a similar dynamic from last season now, you're moving Timber over there. Things are happening. You might even have to put Kivior over there, which I'm not saying I want. This is the reality of the situation. So you've got players that need to move on. You've probably got players that need to move on, but depending on what happens with incomings and outgoings, you might get a new lease of life in a sense. And then there's probably players that you're available for the right price, or within the next 12, 18 months, 2 years, if we're still having the same talking points, and especially with other players banging on doors and emerging and other plans in the recruitment sense, you might meet the exit. You know, I don't necessarily think this with Martin Odegaard, but Martin Odegaard could be one. Kai Havertz could be another. You get where I'm going. You get where I'm going with this potentially, folks, man. So it is what it is. Yeah, I agree, DG. He's veered too far into the pragmatic approach, and it's a learning curve. I want to stop saying this around Arteta, but every year is a learning curve. For me, it's a conflicting one, because if I put on my Arsenal cap, you've been here 6 years. You've done a lot well. You've made us a good team. It's now about making us a great team. You've made us competitive, solid defensively. We're really and truly, and not to say we're the biggest and baddest, but really and truly, our shortcomings are our own faults. Like our lack of chance creation, capitulating, squad depth. These are all things that have been within our control to pattern up. And between you and everyone else, you haven't done that. You have made us competitive. You've done good things. You have showed many different ways of playing, right? For someone that's been in the managerial reign for 6 years, I applaud you for that. You've made some mistakes, clearly, but are we better? The minute you walked into, if you left today, are we significantly better? No one can tell me we're not. Like you don't have to rate Arteta. You can rate Arteta, but what we don't have to do is lie. You've done that, right? You've done that. And as much as I'm saying 6 years, cool, it's really been 3 bordering on 4 that we're at this kind of table now, right? You've shown me a lot in that regards. If I look at you with my Arsenal, that's just me looking at Arteta. You've shown big bollocks to take this job. You have. You've done well. But then, and then even the Champions League, you've managed in Europe and fucked up like Villarreal, where you put Smith Rowe. Let me not lie to you, and the Sporting Lisbon thing. And I don't want to kill you, Arteta, but you might have been the manager when the madness happened against Olympiacos. PTSD, Arsenal fans, young and old, will have that, right? But where we've been in the creme de la creme of club football, the Champions League, smash the like button. You've got to a quarters and then a semis, and we have not got embarrassed. No, I don't really care about that, because I want to win it, especially when you beat Madrid. You thought, ooh, maybe the footballing gods are on us now. Unfortunately, they didn't answer our prayers, innit? You've done that. So you as a man, isolated to you as a coach, I hear that. Now, I put the Arsenal cap on, and I hear all of that stuff. But you've been here 6 years. You've been here 6 years. So a manager's shelf life is quite short, but you've been here 6 years. quote unquote, not all the time, but since we've got into this realm, you have got everything you've wanted. You have won every sort of battle, player power battle. You haven't had to be a bit cute and coy. You've actually been spoiled as a manager, managing this club and all of these kind of things for a new manager that other managers they only get into this kind of territory and be able to move bossy like this when they win trophies or solidify themselves in the game. So with great power comes great responsibility, bro. You've been here for a long time. You've got 50 million a year. Everybody's here that you want, whether it's incomings or outgoings. The squad has flirted with success. So I think it's a fair question to ask, why are we not getting over the line? And I do think you shoot yourself in the foot. I think the 2 legs against Newcastle, St. James's Park being the best one, the 2 against PSG, I think that's where you can never overrate. I do think experience is overrated, but it can never be overstated. And I do think we're trying to reinvent the wheel too much, and you've got to keep innovating and evolving and stuff. But sometimes I think you just got to be a bit street smart. Put the attacking players in places they can thrive. Let them move around. Just let them play, because like Wenger said, football's like a dance, you know. It should be unpredictable. I think it's too mechanical now. And again, I don't want to be a hypocrite because I like certain aspects of it, but variety is the spice of life, right? Whoever made that weren't lying. So ultimately, we're living and dying by what we're doing. Coaching is a big issue. That City game in 2022-23 killed him. And then it helped him, but indirectly it's killing him again. I definitely hear you, DG. Hence why I didn't want a striker unless it's a profile of Isaac and Anelka Henry, guys that can dribble and create for themselves. With this gaffer, even Lewandowski would struggle. I must admit, I hear you, and you're not wrong. But at this moment in time, for me, with what I'm seeing in terms of chance creation and all of these kind of things, it don't matter who goes up there. If the tactics don't change, like you said Henry and Anelka. I would say Messi's an exception because he'll just do it. But it don't really matter who goes in our front three. I don't think you're going to see their full potential. And even someone like Saka that's been able to thrive regardless, which is why when I look at Martinelli and all these guys, you need to pattern up and fix up off your own back because they're still thriving. But then I always wonder, how good would Saka be if occasionally, just for 2 minutes, you could swap flanks and there's 1-2s and there's telepathic movements? Because I've seen elements of it. Arteta, I've seen you play football with shit players, let alone 2022-23. There was that weird season or seasons where you started to see what Arteta wanted to do, but we didn't have the players. Like, you could see what he wanted to do playing out from the back. Socrates or Mustafi might just F up. You could see what we're trying to do in terms of in the middle third, in the final third. The players weren't good enough. Like, go and look at, last time we went and played City at Wembley and Chelsea at Wembley, we played football with shit guys, you know. Let's have it right. So you've got the ability to do it, Arteta. And I'm sure if I had a conversation with you, drank some beer, you might tell me your reasons, but I'm now of the belief you're not doing it for whatever reason. It's not that you can't do it. You're not doing it. I'm sure you might have legit reasons, but you're not doing it. Now, me as a naive fan, I ain't got UEFA B license and all of these things. But like you lot, watch the club, bleed for the club, die for the club, week in, week out. It's like the same movie is we're watching the same movie week in, week, day in, day out. We're watching the same movie. How many times have you lot watched the movie hoping for a different ending? If you do, you're genuinely an idiot. That's my thoughts. At least it wasn't a mistake in the semi-final of the FA. What? At least it wasn't a mistake in the semi-final of the Cup. Agree, Leao and Eze are needed to unlock low blocks. Same old Arteta ball otherwise. I must admit, I've said this before. I don't mean this in a bad way. I do think Rafael is overrated. I do think it's shiny new toy syndrome from people that don't watch him. Do I think you've got ability? 100%. Consistency is another thing. You're almost going to be like a champagne Martinelli. You're twice the player Martinelli is, but you've still got those things around work rate, consistency. Some games you look good, some games you don't. But I must admit, maybe it's the transfer season and things like that. And maybe it's a bit of seeing Isaac and Liverpool splash cash. Bro, just spend the money in it. Just spend the money. Just spend it. I know we're not going to, and I know it's not necessarily the right thing, bro. Just spend the money. Deal with that stuff after. Deal with that stuff after. I'm not even worried about Leao's defensive work rate and all of that jazz. I mean, obviously I am, but you've got to want to track back. If you want to track back, you will. Look at Ousmane Dembele. I'm not worried about that. It's just, you get where I'm going. For me, I can't say I see us signing Eze because I can't sit here and say that, but if you were asking me to bet some level of money, I could only really see an Eze signing and we take it from there. If that people you lot are buying it, there's close to 300 people here. Only got 52 likes. It's August, people. Let's start the month correctly. We're trying to get to 70k subs. What's going on there, man? The players are overcoached and devoid of all individuality. It doesn't matter who we buy. This manager turns them into the same robots. I hear it, man. But people say that around Pep. But what I would say with Mikel Arteta, and this is a hot take here, because I was thinking about this before I went online. You either need to win me trophies, and this is just how I feel as a fan. You need to win me trophies or you need to play exciting football. You can't do, you can do both if you want. That's ideal. Or you can do either or. But if you do none, it's already understood. Don't have to be explained. Fed up of watching Nelly shoot over the bar. I'm you know what it is for me? I'm not vexed at no more. Because now I have to look after my own happiness. If you're showing me what you lot are, I have to accept you. I have to accept right now, Arteta, you're overcoaching, you're doing too much. Martinelli, love the guy to bits. Decision-making is pony. The vast majority of our attackers, with the exception of Gyökeres, who obviously is not involved like that at the moment, over a 38-game period, there's going to be 5, 10, maybe isolated 90-minute games where you lot play out of your skin. But as for that level of consistency, I do think our club, unfortunately, we flirt with greatness. We don't truly want to realize it. That's why we've never won back-to-back Premier Leagues. That's why when we're in dire straits, like when we fell off a cliff and we weren't a shoe-in anymore, and we're not getting mocked for not getting top 4 because we're not doing that. That's when you saw urgency with the signings. Then we get into this point, it's a bit lackadaisical, and I think we've gone back to that. I think last season was that, if I'm completely honest with you. I think January reflected that of this year, because we knew we was in that weird place. We're not getting anywhere near Liverpool. City, well, I guess mathematically, at the time, you could still win the league, even though that's not the case. And mathematically, you could have got drawn into a top 4 race, right? But we was in that weird scenario in that we've pulled away from those that are fighting for Europe, quote unquote. Liverpool have pulled away from us. It's a shoe-in. It's a shoe-in. And that can't happen. And even this summer, as much as I'm praising Berta for whether the players work out or the recruitment and all these things, we're addressing all the areas that need to be addressed on paper. I might, again, and I reserve the right to praise and critique fairly. Madueke, I'm going to assume you're going to play off the left as much as off the right. So that might not be the left winger I want, but you've done that. Some of you don't want Gyökeres, some of you do. I'm very happy around Gyökeres. You've addressed that, right? 2 midfielders have left, 2 midfielders have come in. So you've pivoted and you've got the targets over the line. Whether the depth has been solved, I don't know. And you've got a backup goalie. You've done all of those things. I praise Berta and I praise the club on one hand for doing that. But then on the other hand, I can't praise you for doing what you should be doing. And let's have it right. We needed to do this a long time ago. You needed to address all the areas a long time ago. There was times where I keep giving the same example. There might have been years where you need a left winger and you need a striker. You might, the fans might be like, all right, cool, striker were cool, left winger were cool. It's not the end of the world. Because you haven't been doing what's needed to be done now in the last few windows, you've given yourself no option but to address all these areas. Mikel Arteta as well, he told man goosebumps. Gyökeres is that, Zubimendi's that, the football ain't been that. Well, Max Dowman's been the closest thing to goosebumps per se, man. Let's get the likes up, chat. Come on. Big up Matt James. Run up the likes, as Michael said. Maybe an attacking-minded assistant coach would help, not Gabriel Heinz. You never know, but at the end of the day, yeah, we don't know if the coaches are not saying the same things we are. Because if they're good coaches, which I imagine they are, or if Arteta's a sensible man, obviously you need to sing from the same hymn sheet. But you need people that challenge you. That was something we said about Wenger. Oh, the big up Pat Rice, can never diss his thing when he was here. But Pat Rice, Boro, we all said that you lot maybe didn't challenge him. If you're a good manager, obviously you get people that think differently, but they have to be able to challenge you. We don't know if they're not saying to him, bro, we're working on set pieces too much. Maybe invert from the right, do this. He can take their information in and be challenged. But Arteta's got to want to say that. At the end of the day, rightly or wrongly, it's his job, well, indirectly them, but it's his job on the line. And that's where I'm actually thinking about Pep a bit more, because you went and got that Liverpool done. You went and got Kolo Touré. It's different kind of thoughts in that regard. I don't think Arteta can change. Sense of stubbornness akin to Wenger in him. His way must work. Is he demanded to change? Because on the face of it, you've been here 6 years, 15 million a year. Let's have it right. We know how the people above him operate. I don't know if they're going to find that for them. I don't do all of this. Oh, who are we going to get if you don't get Arteta? But for them, a man that's getting you Champions League, it's a mixed bag where Arteta is concerned. For as much as people want him out, people want him here. It's not really the toxic Wenger days. Do you have to? I do think there needs to be that pressure from above. Is there external pressure in Arteta? Yes. Is there internal? I don't quite think so. I'll be real. I don't think so. Because I can't sit here and say if it would be right or wrong, but I genuinely don't feel if you don't win any trophies next year, do I think Arteta will be sacked? No. As long as there's some sort of, and you lot know, we love to talk about the grey area, the nuances, why this happened, that happened. But we are getting to that scenario now where we could afford you those luxuries, maybe those excuses. But the writing still has to be on the wall, because we are in that scenario now where winners need to win. We've had 3 years now. great attacking football one year, solid defensively the next year. We finished second last year, but it was crap. 3 different years, very different talking points. He's flirted with success. Ultimately, it's had the same vein in that it's crumbled and we finished second. We're a good team. You're a good manager. Are you a winning manager? Is this a winning team? And I think the fans need it more than anything. And I think the players, because it can't be nice. It can't be nice. Seeing what it's like to beat a Madrid and get into semi-finals and how that ended. Running a title to the last day of the season with a great run in the back end, ultimately not getting it over the line to the point where the Premier League trophies at the Emirates. The year before that, where we didn't expect to do it, but it all collapsed. There's many different learning curves we could have learned. It's now time to get over the line. I don't think a league or FA Cup will save the external noise around Mikel Arteta, but I think a league and an FA Cup that saves face. I think you need to win the Prem, even though I think we're third favourites at best. I think you need to win the Prem. And if you can't, it's more a dream for me in the champs. Obviously, you can compete. I can't say here and say we're going to win it. What I want is to get to the latter stages, put our best foot forward, play it by ear, see what you can do, if that makes sense. Even when we won the FA Cup, Aubameyang fumbled it, trying to lift it. Hey, big up Aubameyang. He's gone back to Marseille. Arteta is still an apprentice coach. He's learning the job. We need an experienced coach. I've worked for countless private organizations where when personnel no longer works, it's time to clean up, apply new pieces, and give it a new environment. Pardon me, people don't remember last season how many games where we didn't have one shot on target in the first 50 minutes, and we need an Eze, and with Gyökeres at the bare minimum, we need man eager to pull the trigger. But does the manager want you to pull the trigger? Because rightly or wrongly, you could argue maybe the players could take the game by the balls. To a degree, they're following what the gaffer's telling you. I don't think, like, come on, man. Let's be real. With some of these players, like Saka, Odegaard, I know you lot don't want to do some of what we're doing. But if the manager's telling you, you get the ball, you need to do X, Y, Z. To be honest, that's your boss, isn't it? You have to listen. Or you might to not play. It doesn't matter who we get, damn. But at least, also true, but at least we had straightforward attack rather than 2023, 24, 25, which was catch, recycle, pass along backline. It's uninspiring, man. And it was our best attacking season was Zinchenko, breath of fresh air. But again, I do like the fact that we've got stability, a unique brand of football, etc. But the double-edged sword is people clock you now. People know what you're about. Set pieces, they know what you're on. Deep blocks, like we can defend, they know what you're on. They know certain movements players are going to make. They know how you're going to press and just a bit better how to evade the press, etc. So you need to evolve. How do you think Eddie Howe would do with this team? I'd have Howe over Arteta in a heartbeat. Listen, big up Eddie Howe. To be honest, probably the same. They both won one title. I'm not having Eddie Howe over Arteta, I'll be brutally honest. And I don't mean that in a disingenuous way. If Arteta left tomorrow, of course, I'm entertaining Eddie Howe, but I'm not having him over him. I'll be real. But then you could argue what he's done at Newcastle. And be respectfully to Newcastle, it is relative. The expectations here are very different. But is it more remarkable what he's done at Newcastle than what Arteta's done at Arsenal? Because when you strip it all back, what have you done? You've won an FA Cup. And to be honest, there is a degree where you're being praised for what certain people are being killed for. I wouldn't say the tactics are rubbish, but there's stagnation. And there has to be a conversation. We want to win titles, but there has to be a healthy conversation. As you see the same way people say Wenger built the stadium, Arteta turned the lights on. What if Wenger built the stadium, Arteta turned the lights on, and the next man is the one that takes it to a next level and makes it a banging rave sort of thing? And you could leave with your head held high, Arteta, if that was the case. I don't want to say rebuilt, but you've got us in a good scenario now where with a little bit of cleaning up, I'm not saying we're going to bully the league and win stuff every year, but we could give it even more of a chance rather than be surprised. We were surprised in 2022-23. Some would say the next year we was even surprised that, we were up there again. Surprised ourselves in the Champions League, but ultimately there's nothing. These players can't, they might think about these memories, but there's nothing set in stone. No one don't care about the Madrid game no more. No one don't care about the last 3 years anymore. That's not me being disingenuous. That's the reality. Arteta's a top coach. Just think he's taking us as far as he can. Personally feel like he's run out of ideas and just winging it now. And I don't think that's a criticism. That's a legit concern. That's a legit conversation to have. That is legit comments. Has to be a case. Big up DG. Big up North London Forever. Steve, AFC TV. We need to have 2 fantastic games now in the Emirates Cup to lift us up after the Spuds game. I'm concerned about our left-hand situation, which needs addressing before the season starts. But Reece does this every preseason. I know, bro. I know. But I'm starting to fall for it. Maybe it's because Martinelli and Trossard, I'm used to it. I need something new. Madueke probably pissed me off as well, but dash him on now. Just show me something new, man. Just give me a new patty to try, man. Just come, man. Martinelli Garnacho swap makes no sense, bro. It's like you want it. It's like you got a blocked nose now. You want an earache. Like, what's going on? Or you stubbed you caught your toe in the door. Now you want to catch your finger in the door. That's how frustrating them man are on. Man said Leao or Rodgers. Let man dream, man. Madueke is already on the left wing. Acceptance now is better than disappointment. That's why I want Eze. Also, Arsenal aren't spending 100 million on Rodgers, and Aston Villa aren't saying. I mean, I've echoed all of that, but come on, man. Like, you don't have to, we know that's the case, but come on, man. Let man dream. No convo. If you question Arteta, you're toxic. And it's bare gaslighting, man. They piss me off. You're not supporters. Supporter doesn't mean breading. I don't want to make this a political thing, yeah. But in this country, you've got Labour, Conservative. I don't know if you want to do UKIP and all of that, yeah. But if you put those three parties together, there's probably, let's just say there's 100 Conservatives, 100 Labour dons, 100 this. Does everybody think the same way about how the party should be run or about the person leading the party? So why on God's green earth that everything just has to bread? And that's what's jarring about football. You either have to suck off everything that Arteta does or you have to slate everything. Why can't you sit there and say, okay, I like this. This is concerning. I like Arteta, but you need to do this and do that and the third. That's gaslighting. Gaslight, asking any question. I'm a supporter. I'm not a follower. I'm not following nobody blindlessly. There's some things Arteta's done. I can't see the angle at the time. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's why you've done whatever, fair play. There's things that I haven't agreed with and worked. There's things that I've agreed with and have not worked. And everything in between. You're not a real supporter. Okay, fuck off then. Okay, let me not be a real supporter. Let me not be a real supporter. And he's like, he's going to prove you wrong. Duh. Want to be proven wrong. Want to win stuff. If we go and win 5-0, I'm going to praise the players and the gaffer. If we lose 5-0, I want to know why that happened. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Maybe it's because we've been down in the dumps and we're finally somewhat competitive. I don't understand it. Because there's Arteta, you need to realize your own potential now. You need to realize your own potential. Get all the effing line, bro. Because you said, listen, because all of them people that gaslight you, they conveniently forget. Arteta now speaks very bold. We want to win leagues. We want to do this. We want to do that. It's come out the horse's mouth. Ain't no one put a gun to his head to say that. And I don't want to hear no woe is me stuff. Not that there's been many managers, but he's been backed. You can't just blame him. And everyone says, oh, who would we get? Oh, cool. That's a great, legitimate comment. I don't know who we'd get. But what if Arteta said, you know what? What if he said today, I have taken this club as far as I can go. I'm cutting out. You're going to have to get a new manager, right? If that don't work, you're going to have to get another one. If Gyökeres don't work up front, you're going to have to get another striker. Sometimes things don't happen. It's jarring, man. And the media and the bigger YouTube accounts, that's where the disingenuousness comes from, because there's vested agendas. I know if I bred everything Mikel Arteta does to a degree, I am going to be invited into press conferences. I'm going to be on certain platforms. Cool. I've got no begrudges with that. I just wish the world could see everything for what it is, innit? Cool. You got to pay your bills. Then the overly negative thing is we live in a day and age of rage bait, viral moments, deliberately disingenuous takes. That's going to take you places. All right, if that's what you want to do, cool. Don't get it twisted. There are certain points on either side that you can agree with, or you lean towards, or okay, I agree with this one and that one, but that's not it. It's jarring, man. Why can't people just be honest? It's jarring, man. I don't know if it's well said, but one love, man. It's jarring. Arteta and Southgate play the same kind of ball in football, but it's shocking how bad it is without Big Gabby at the back. That's my one concern, man. Like Timber, Magalhaes. I know Arteta said they'll be ready for the season and all that jazz, but I don't want to feel a bit uneasy about my defense, and also simultaneously feel uneasy about my attack and slightly midfield in it, because we don't know how Rice and Zubimendi are going to operate. If Odegaard's going to get his act together, great. But attack, defense, football's decided at both ends. The very thing I can give us is, all right, I do think we've dropped off a level defensively, but we're one of the better sides at that. We're kind of cool with that. We've got relative confidence. If certain players are not there, you do see that missing, and it does have a knock-on effect. And we all know the attacking concerns. So it's a mixed bag of things, people. What did you not make of this? Arteta could be playing Rice out of position as an exercise to see how well Norgard fits in as a 6. Also, Rice might be adjusting to the Xhaka role. Both have similar issues. Tight space, back to goal isn't their forte. Positive, both box crash. Rice's engine is Xhaka's engine. I must admit, though, if you're a centre mid or a professional footballer, better yet, you should have an engine. Romano has spoken about Eze. Eze's release clause expires in 24 hours. Arsenal will then need to enter into a negotiation with Crystal Palace to sign player. Palace sources expect Arsenal to arrive irrespective of the release clause expiring. Remains to be seen what Arsenal can do financially. What do you lot make of that, people? We're going to circle back on the Eze stuff. I just want to make sure. I know it's a slow news day where Arsenal's concerned, but make sure we're not missing anything else out. Ben Jacobs on Eze has said, Arsenal are aware that Eze's 68 million release clause expires at 11:59 tomorrow. So when was that? That would have been today. So it's expired now, isn't it? This was the 31st of July. And I've already informed Crystal Palace they have no plans to trigger it. The removal of the clause is not likely to change the Gunners' approach, who value Eze under 60 million. So regardless, we want him under 60 million. There's still some relative confidence that we could get a deal done and Palace won't reject it. And maybe we've been given positive signals by Palace, but the deal's going to have to make sense. The framework of the deal is going to have to make sense. They're not going to hear, we're going to give you 30 million and then 50 years from now, we're going to give you the rest. It has to make sense. But I just hope if you don't get Eze, we're able to pivot, because I do think we're an attacker short. So who knows, man? It's going to be interesting. And to be honest, even if we didn't care that it's expiring, we probably were never going to, beyond the obvious, because we're told there that Arsenal had no intention of activating his release clause. And I think every Arsenal fan probably expects or expected or still expects, we got these guys in that's at the club already. There's probably going to be an emphasis on outgoings. Then we might circle back for the Ezes. And I hope not just Eze, but Rodrigo. I know I'm dream chasing. Or if you can't get me Eze or Rodrigo, if not both, the skill sets of such. Eze tells me that's a versatile attacker, probably more at home in the 10, but could do a job in other roles. Rodrigo tells me talismanic left winger. Go and get me the skill set of those. How Palace are shaping up for the season. Now, I believe Sammy Motbell spoke about Eze. We're going to, zoom in. And to be fair for Crystal Palace, low key, I'm kind of worried for them anyways, if I'm honest. Glasnier's got 1 year left on his deal or something like that. Eze and Gurhi have 2 years left on their deal. They are competing in Europe in some capacity. It seems like it's what's going on in that regards, if I'm honest. I must admit, I did think Gurhi was going to cut. I still reckon he ends up at Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool's spending is done. Arsenal have a genuine interest in Eze, but have so far shown no inclination of triggering the forward release clause. Well-placed sources are also indicating that Arsenal would prefer to sell a forward before making any formal move for Eze. While there's also a feeling at Arsenal that Eze's best position is at number 10, an area that Odegaard and Nwaneri operate in. Some would say they want Eze to be the number 1. Odegaard and Nwaneri, you lot fight it out. Eze can play on the left, and Arsenal may view the Palace forward as a multifunctional attacker rather than just a number 10. Palace are aware of Arsenal's interest. The Gunners are understood to value Eze lower than the clause and want to negotiate a deal beneath the agreement. As things stand, Crystal Palace chairman Steve Parris has shown no indication he'd be open to negotiating a lower price. I mean, he's not going to show you're not going to show your hand in business to the public, are you? Though there is a thought at rival clubs, his stance may soften later in the window to avoid the player going into the final year of his deal. It's understood Eze is very open to joining Arsenal. The attraction is clear, with Arsenal a contender for both the Prem and Champions League next season. Champions League? We should go for it, and I want us to go for it, but we could put our name in that contender thing. I know we beat Real Madrid, but I don't know. Liverpool's a contender. PSG is a contender. I know Madrid were crap by their own standards. That's a contender. Bayern Munich historically a contender. Barcelona historically a contender. We could do a thing. We can give anyone a game. We probably look better in Europe. But contender? Contender for Prem, fair enough. Probably for second, third, give or take. Not the favourites, but give or take. So yeah, man. However, it's not to say Eze is desperate to leave Selhurst Park. The 27-year-old is a key member of the Palace squad. He's immensely popular among his colleagues. It sounds cliche, but the camaraderie nurtured at Palace under Glasner is something numerous sources have told BBC Sport players would find difficult to walk away from. I mean, it's like a walking life, really and truly, whatever they call it. Like, that's the real working world. Some of you have that, so it wouldn't make sense if it was any different. A recent party attended by almost all of the squad was illustrative of their bond. That would be true for Eze, but Arsenal do not come knocking often. When they do, particularly for Eze, who was turned down by the Gunners as a youngster, such an offer would be hard to resist. Liverpool are still linked with Gurhi. That's their business, people, in that regard. So yeah, food for thought, essentially, people. Should we shop again at Chelsea? I know, people. Apparently, Enzo Maresca wants 15 Chelsea players to leave this summer, and you can see a lot of them. Would you have any? I can see 2. We got to the semi-finals when we had Raheem Sterling. I know, people. I'm just triggering you lot. Chilwell and loan, I wouldn't be against. I know it's mad, just because I feel if you don't want to spend mad money, I do think we need a left back. I'm not saying I would, but that's the point. I'd probably say no to the rest. Who are these? Who are these? Real life Football Manager settings. Hand of Arsenal did say a few days ago on Eze, the release clause does indeed have an expiry date that comes into effect before deadline day, but I'm not sure this changes the value Palace have placed on Eze. Arsenal and Palace have engaged in talks, multiple sources confirm. As of today, Palace are looking for approximately 30 million as a first payment for any agreed deal. Personal terms are not an issue. No further advancement as of today, folks. A reminder of the top 6 from the Premier League for PFA Player of the Year voted for by the players. You've got Cole Palmer, Mohamed Salah, Declan Rice, McAllister, Isak, Bruno. Surely Salah's got to win that. Arsenal bias aside, Salah and Isak. McAllister was good though. Probably McAllister after that. Fulham, as we know, Fulham have made an approach for Zinchenko and Reece Nelson in that regards. I'm having both Rafael and Eze. I'm desperate for signings at this moment in time, where Arsenal apparently are distracting away from Rodrigo as they focus on signing Eze and Anthony Gordon. Yeah, really? After they sell, is that really? You think that's going to happen? Fair enough. I don't know if African Guna or the source he's come when and found this from is creditable, but apparently the Daily Express, Arsenal are continuing informal discussions over Morgan Rodgers as sporting director Andrea Berta gathers intel on a range of left-wing targets. He's still very much in there thinking, that's great, but what intel do you need to do? Apart from, can a deal happen, the, personal terms, all that kind of jazz. Bro, the guy's a baller. I can tell he's a good player. You lot can see many years ago when he was at West Brom. One of my first videos is about him. Of course, I'm not saying I could have seen him do this. Villa are going to want a shit load amount of money, rightly so. You want to hang at this table. That's what you got to do. Morgan Rodgers actually linked with a new contract as well, so I love Morgan Rodgers and I'll give food to thought. And we got to make titles of YouTube vids, so his name will be there. But myth. Flamengo withdrew from the race to sign Jesus because he hasn't played since January due to a knee injury. Flamengo is also looking for a striker not for the next few months. His salary is also far beyond the means of even Brazil's biggest spending clubs. Palmeiras also had no intentions to bring Jesus back this summer. Arsenal are open to negotiations over Jesus' transfer, but his injury has delayed any concrete steps, people. This kind of correlates with that as well, and said a January move at best it will be where Jesus is concerned as he recovers from his long-term injury. Shout out to Haaland because he's a cool sport, man. It is what it is. And to be fair, Haaland, you didn't make a big scene of it. I think the English media is a bit disingenuous because when Grealish sat there and mocked Almiron, it was seen as humour. Miles Lewis-Skelly was sent for from Haaland, and then he's got a bad attitude and all these kind of things. But we know how that goes, man. And even people are still onto Marcus Rashford. If there was a player that does not play for Arsenal that I really want to succeed at Barcelona, unless they play us in the Champions League, Marcus Rashford, play to the point where you stick 2 middle fingers up at these pussios that are chatting shit. That guy in the Daily Mail, Teddy Sheringham's doing the most. And I know a bit of it is rage bait and whatnot, but yeah, so Campbell's not lying. Either way, Haaland spoke and said, on the staying humble stuff, they won the game 5-1, so yeah, they got me. If Lewis Skelly wanted to use that moment to mock me, that's fair enough for him. Whatever he wants to do, he can do. I think staying humble is an important phrase which a lot of people should use, including myself. It's one of the most important things as individuals to do. Fair enough. So suckle yourself. And you, as much as he's an advanced player and whatnot, yeah, you do see that he's a young man in his 20s. Anyone having Tyler Dibling? I know we're not getting involved in this, but apparently Everton are preparing a new proposal for Dibling after an opening 27 million bid was rejected. Plan is to return to the table and try to get a deal done with Southampton, says Romano. He's an Arsenal player, man. We're clearly not going for him, but you get the point, innit, people? Stay humble, huh? I have respect for Rashford. It's horrible, man. It's horrible, man. Stay humble, man. I can't lie, Nelson is looking good. Needs to go, man. Bro, DG and the player stand culture, bro, has been the downfall for everything, and 29 transfer has been atrocious. Too much people got vested agendas, man. There's some people that got some weird love affair with Kai Havertz. And don't get twisted, there's some people that are committed to hating the guy. Like we all know, let's be real, man. We shouldn't have bought him. You're not really the centre mid on paper. You're not striker on paper. Your wages are a problem. And we will have to see if it's a knock-on effect. But when you look beyond that, Kai, you've done all you can, in my opinion. You've done all you can. Not that you can't improve or you've been amazing. If nobody rates you, you've done all you can, bro. You just should not have been here. You're definitely not a striker. And to be honest, Mikel Arteta, like Gyökeres has to start. I get it. He's got to adjust. Gyökeres is already playing catch up. He weren't in pre-season for Sporting. He's just linked up with us. I don't know how many training sessions he's had. I don't know how fit he is. But for me, we need to go back to basics. Slap your striker up front. Let him get up to grips with things. You know, yes, he has to adapt to the system, but we need to make attacking changes anyways. Gyökeres provides you with that. I don't want to hear people say this is a Berta signing. Granted, it might be. But at the end of the day, just because Arteta might prefer Isaac and Sesko doesn't mean he does not rate Gyökeres. And at the end of the day, you had to have signed off at some point for this. Make it work. Because if he scored goals in Portugal and he scored goals in the Championship and he doesn't score here, maybe not to the abnormal rate that you're seeing in Portugal, there will be an exchange rate that needs to be applied. I am looking at you. And one luxury I will give Gyökeres is not a single attacking player is thriving currently. Big up the Gooner. I need to get you on the platform, man. I need to get you on the platform, man. Really big fan of his channel, man. Make sure you're taking him in. I feel like Eze is almost done and dusted. I hope so, man. I hope so because where it's at now, I think too much things have to go right for us to win something. Now, don't get it twisted. You could bring Rodrigo, Eze, all these guys, and we could still flop, but it's a myth. Lock DG up. You got to have a bit of fun, man. You got to have a bit of fun. The two I want from Chelsea are Palmer and Caicedo. Got to wait till they're about 37, if I'm honest. I hate fanboy culture. They ruin everything, but also the number of transfers too high never become... Bro, people are worried in football about the wrong things, man. There's just too many people that don't love football at its core level, would never even played five-a-side or Sunday League in their lives, having opinions. They use smart words, they get fancy diagrams, and they trick everybody. Semi-finals makes us contenders. Listen, I hope we're a contender. How many times we been there? Because, yeah, Real Madrid lost, but it's not shocking that they're in the semi-finals. I hope we're contenders. In fact, I'll do you one better. I hope we win it. But I'm never going to lie to you. Like, in my opinion, I don't think we're contenders. I think we're best of the rest. I think people can fear us. I think we can get to the latter stages. I have us as contenders for the Prem. I have us as favourites every year for the FA Cup. That needs to come home. That's our trophy. League Cup, ain't seen that in my life. Seen many of finals. I know we just got a top striker, apologies, but Arteta can F it up. Bring back Arsenal with that squad. We win F all. Boy, Spurs look a better team. Oh, blasphemy. Thomas Frank's a good guy, though. It's just a shame you picked them up. I went down a rabbit hole on ChatGPT to search for abstract solutions for low block football. Super interesting. I don't get why we cross so much. And the thing is, I'm not against us crossing. That can be an added tool in our toolbox. It's just with that's what we're doing by type. That is literally what we're doing by type. We never deviate away from the script. And to a degree, the players need to do that or be promoted to be able to do that. But to a degree, when you look at a football team, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's always a reflection of the manager. And it damn well needs to be when you've been here for 5-6 years. And let's be honest, this squad kind of been together for anything from 2 to 4 years, unless you've just walked through the door. I don't know why I still bought Madueke after seeing Max in pre-season. Tranquillo, man. Max has been better than Saka in pre-season. So we have Wanyeri, Max, Saka for right wing. The Madueke money should be used for Rodrigo. But we literally play like Sunderland with better players down. Arsenal with this back line and Rice clear. But then again, he probably wasn't going to buy it. Them tacticals are the greatest Satan soldiers. Yeah, because they're weird, man. Because they got big followings and they do weird stuff. And I'm not saying you shouldn't believe in Madueke or not to believe in Gyökeres, but when it's these little weird players that we all know might not be levels or we've got concerns, they do all the statistics. When you got Gyökeres, because we don't fancy him, we hate him, he's clunky, he's fat. Like, if there's beyond the obvious, Gyökeres, I want you to thrive because these tacticals can't win. I'm not talking about those that are happy with Gyökeres but maybe wanted Sesko. They can't be allowed to win, man. They can't. Merino finds himself in better positions in the box than Havertz and a better finisher. 100. I have Merino above Havertz in the pecking order. The one thing that goes against Merino is clearly Havertz's sample size has been better. I think he's more intelligent. I think there's more variety in his play. I do think it's a bit of aesthetics as well. Unfortunately, I do prefer to see Merino up front. It looks a bit better. I think he's a better finisher as well. Better natural finisher. But it's a bit weird because I prefer Merino up front and Kai in midfield, if that makes sense, if it came to it. Just because Kai's ugly in midfield, but I wouldn't say it'd be pretty. I could, if I was the manager for 90 minutes, if I just needed to slug out a game, there's a role for you. I don't really like Marino in midfield, man. I feel you're too easy to be bundled off the ball. I think you kind of do things at one pace. I do think you look for fouls too much for someone that's a bit, you're not the smallest. Ironically, when I like Marino. When he plays up front, he looks more natural when he drops into midfield. And I remember there was talk about Marino once upon a time playing as a 6. If it came to it, you bloody need to be that 8. I like Marino, though, man. Big fan of his. Fair play to Haaland, man. Fair play to the guy. If you give it out, you got to take it, essentially. Havertz better with headers. Maybe, I was going to say I agree, but I feel like I've seen Marino do his thing with them headers, man. The one thing I would say, I can't see Kai Havertz scoring that goal. That thing he scored, man. That Marino scored against Leicester. I can't see that. Or the finish against Madrid. I just think he's a better finisher. Like, a lot of Marino's finishes are actually very good. Their first time, sometimes like if the ball's being whipped across, he uses the pace of the ball like on a backlift thing. I think he's really better than Kai in that role. I think maybe it's just more pleasing on the eye. I didn't say I want Havertz in midfield. I just said if worse comes to worse. And I do think we're going to see Kai in midfield a lot, if I'm honest, man. I really believe that our movement up front is not good enough. 100% it's not. It's not even that you believe it. We see this. This is probably Mikel's top priority, and part of it needs to be to allow our forwards freedom. Exactly. Like, for me, I don't really see... Like, we've all played the game. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be good structurally, but let's just say Gyökeres is there and Martinelli's there. Like, common sense. If Martinelli's driven inside, maybe Gyökeres occupies that role. Lewis Skelly inverts, that fullback bombs on. Someone makes a run because they can see that the opposition's too, occupied with their opponents. There's no intrinsic movement, and I do think that needs to be a way of football. Like, even if you strip it back and talk about five-a-side or Sunday League, which you've all played, man, like, your teammates, that this one's fast or this one's got the IQ, so that if I'm the striker and I pop it around the corner, I know he's clocked what's going to happen. These have been together for time, If we don't think Martinelli's frustrating with his decision making, or we know other guys are a very good technical player, what do you think the players do? These are training with them week in, week out. Statistically, they're probably seeing these players and in and around these footballers and their teammates more than their wives and kids. So Arteta, just pull back the shackles a little bit, man. Love Laguna, man. Make sure you're subscribing over there, people. Always got time for whether we agree, disagree. People that just got some fucking logic about them, if I'm honest. Was watching Ramsey comp, the ability to make that run time and time again and scored at the right time. Also, always finding those runners. Who does that now? Marino been here 5 minutes and already showing he's good. I wouldn't have bought Marino, but you're cool for the squad. Like, as long as we're not reliant on you, you're cool for the squad. Mark my words, Havertz will be the downfall of Arteta. Benching Gyökeres and not getting results could have him in hot water real quick. Fan base is already on edge. I hear that, and I do think there's an element of that. But John, in Gyökeres we trust. Gyökeres ain't gonna have that. You've done respectfully to Kai. You've done everything you can to make this move to this football club. At 27, you return to these shores, being held in high regards a lot more than when you left initially from Brighton and wherever you went. Well, to Coventry and then abroad. You've done everything, moved heaven and earth. You're wearing the number 14, and you're gonna let Kai Havertz stop that. And I'm not trying to make it about Kai. You can't afford Kai. You're not gonna let Mikel Arteta and Kai Havertz. You're gonna have to change whatever is in your mind, Arteta. You're gonna have to change it. And I must admit, I'm not a fan of this. How do we fit Kai Havertz in? And that's not me being disrespectful. I wouldn't have bought Kai. I think it's one to watch, but realistically, the man's staying. He's got a role to play in whatever this season upcoming, whatever it's saying for us, innit? Like, he can be a part of it. But I don't like this talk about how we're gonna fit Havertz into the squad, because in the most respectful way to Kai, brother, you're not Declan Rice, you're not Gabriel Magalhaes, you're not Saka, you're not them guys. Like, it's not the same because they're in different positions, but them guys, how do we fit these guys in? I don't think it's by force. Granted, there might be times Kai and Gyökeres have to start together, either in-game or starting the game or whatever. I'm on all of that. But before Gyökeres has really, probably unpacked his stuff in his fancy house in London now, really? Because if you're on that, you're not on getting to the next. I'll be real, you're not on getting to the next level. Kai can help us. But we need to start being fair to ourselves, let alone the players. Like, put people in roles that they can thrive. Like, You can't have Kai as your main striker, one of the main players, and expect to do certain things. I'm not making it about him. Like it's neither. It's my job is not to be negative or positive. This reality of the situation. It just comes down to basic competencies. You lot hate me, man. There's about 300 of you locked in, and there's only 97 likes. To the 97 of you real ones, 98 hate me, man. Hate me. DG saying Kai is a taller Lacazette. Come on, man. Again, with Kai, I praise your work rate. I praise your, you can knock it down to you. I think you're better off the ball than you are on it. Not to be harsh to Kai, but if I'm saying that about you, brother, come on, bro. You can't be that good. Respectfully to him. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. If you've got Jack and Jimmy, if I just say to you, I said this yesterday, Jack's a fucking player, mate. Like, you couldn't get the ball off him in a phone box. He's like Paul Scholes. You already know where I'll be going with that. Jimmy, he puts in a shift. He runs around. He works hard. That Jimmy might not be a bad player, but from there, the first thing said, you don't understand that where I'm going with this. There's piano players and there's piano pushers. Kai is a piano pusher. You can help us, but you can't be a piano player. And I'll tell you bought Kai. At the end of the day, we're at where we're at. Do your thing. And to be honest, I want Kai to say, no, I don't care about Gyökeres. I'm taking his spot. I want Marino to want to do what he's doing. I want Wanyeri to want to stand up to be counted. I'm exaggerating a bit, but I want Dalman to say, yeah, I'm only 15. You can involve me. I want pressure for places. We're not here to make friends. Obviously, we need camaraderie and all that crap, but we're not here to make friends. And I think there's too much of that Kumbaya stuff. I would like the Invincibles. They were clearly friends. They'll go and buy a pint with each other and whatnot. We see when it's training and on the pitch, they're trying to kill each other in training. They're trying to kill each other on the pitch. So what the hell do you think they're going to do to oppositions? I'm not buying Kai, but you should be a backup dancer. Like, you can show me XG and heat maps and watch games again, and he's pulled out to the right and he's a space invader and all this stuff. And I'm not saying it's wrong. There's not a bigger nerd when it comes to that kind of element of football than me. Unfortunately, the eye test, and I'm not lying to myself. As much as you need to marry the eyes. You can't just rely on eyes. You can't just rely on stats. I think too many people lean towards other ways. It's jarring, man. I knew Glock 14 was only on the pitch for like 15 minutes, but it concerns me that he barely touched the ball. The tactics must shift with Gyökeres being the focal point so he could get a proper service. I mean, it would have been nice if Zubimendi had more of a cleaner strike in it and it would have been an instant impact. Yeah, man. And I can't claim that work, but there's piano players and there's piano pushers. You can't have a team of piano players because we're not going to get to where we need to. You can't have a team of piano pushers. You need to mix and blend. Both are required. If we have a theater and the piano pushers put the piano in the middle and no one can play it, nobody's selling tickets, no one's there. If the piano player is the best piano player in the world, but he can't push the piano over there, no one's coming to listen to you. So you need both. But there's too many, like there's too much of the other one. There's not enough balance, man. I need to see more football after that dull Spuds game. Zubimendi will get us ticking. I think he's going to be better than Partey, man. I really do. I'm really bullish about Gyökeres and Zubimendi. I'm more hopeful on Madueke. I don't think he's as good as some fanboys are making out. I definitely don't think he's terrible. But Arteta, you need to make that work. Obviously, Madueke as well. You need to make that work. You're the manager. You know more about football than me. Well, I should have had Chelsea players on my bingo card for the summer transfer window, but I didn't have Madueke. Whether he's going to be this mad right winger, this mad left winger, or in any other position, you need to make it work. 50 million big boys on that. Make it work. I'm cool with you and Mascara because I think you know what you're doing with the defenders. It's calm. Kepa, second choice keeper. I'm not going to cry over that. Norgard, just get up to speed because I do think we're going to need you to come off the bench and all that. I think you need to get Eze. If it's up to me, you get two. There's at least 3 more recruits. If it's up to me, I want an out-and-out left winger and Eze. I want another left back. You don't have to break the bank for it, but I want another left back. I don't want it to be where I think it's going to go at some point next season. Let's just hope Timber's fit. I'll say that much. We need another fullback in the rotation. Martinelli and Odegaard need to be given more of a squad role and work their way back into the team. They haven't been good enough for too long now. Are you concerned that we are not going to create enough for Gyökeres? Yes, Valera and everybody, every attacker. We don't create enough. Like, there was times in the last, maybe not under Arteta, but during the Emirates era, we create a bag of chances. But no one's putting the ball in the back of the net. I know we can create chances. The last 2 years we've gone out of the FA Cup. It feels identical to me. So against Liverpool and Man United, of course, one was on penalties. Bag of chances, missing a bag of chances. And obviously it's going to affect you more so the Liverpool game, because we was down in the dumps, and you could see obviously players miss chances and they have to get on with it. But the Liverpool FA Cup game, you could see on the players' faces that they're thinking about it a bit too much. That's one thing that attracts me to Gyökeres, because we created a bag of chances and no one could put the ball in the back of the net, right? So obviously I would want someone who could do that in Gyökeres. But I don't see you, like, your head's not going to drop. I do think we're a bit too emotional. Like, when things are going great, confidence is flowing aplenty. People do things that are out of their remit and it works. When things are going bad, you start seeing people feel too sorry for themselves, if that makes sense. But we're not creating enough for anybody regardless. But yeah, my point of saying the United game and the Liverpool game, if every game negatively panned out like that, where there's a bunch of chances and we're not creating, fair play. But it's not that, though. There's sometimes we're just damn right not creating chances, creating clear-cut chances and not putting the ball in the back of the net. We might create 2 clear-cut chances and win. You know, we try to win the game on percentages and stats and it works. Other times it doesn't, and we do the what if, and our manager talks about fine margins, and players do that, and fans like to paint ideal scenarios in their head where if you minus this and you add that, and if this didn't happen and the ref this and all of that, then maybe we have a different reality. And of course we could do that. But unfortunately, you can do that as much as you want. Reality is very different. And I do think we're in that scenario where, unfortunately, winners win, losers explain. I'm more than happy, and I'm sure you lot are as well, because why else would you be here to talk about, you know, the grey areas and whatnot? But there is that element of just getting it done. Just get it done. Just get it done. What was it? At least, well, to be fair, the first 2 years we fought for the league, some fans, like football fans, would say Arsenal probably the best team in the league and the most entertaining, and you could believe that if you want. But then who's the best team? The one that won it, no? Arteta said maybe it was a bit of sour grapes. He was down in the dumps. He was a bit vexed and all of that. He did say we gave PSG a game. True. No one can say he didn't. But he came out and what did he say? Best team in the Champions League. Would Luis Enrique, after that game, would Luis Enrique swap positions after the game, let alone the final? After the game with Arsenal, would anyone, or would PSG swap theirs for Arsenal? Nope. Now, if you ask them after they went and done it, I'd ask Arteta, would you swap positions with PSG and winning the champs? Luis Enrique, would you swap your thing? No, you wouldn't. So how far does it go? Because if I'm Luis Enrique, I'm calling you and saying, oh, congrats on being the best team in 2024-25 Champions League. Hope you tell your grandkids about that. Anyways, off to drink some bubbly, mate. Like, is what it is. I'd rather Kai in midfield purely because I'd rather Marino, because I like the way he's got that, not the best of Spanish player, but he's got that Spanish thing, doing things at one pace, that kind of thing about him. In the Prem is too slow. You want too many touches, you're getting overrun. Kai's just going to be ugly in it. And when I accept that it's an ugly thing, I'm never going to look at Kai and think amazing, but I know you're going to run him behind. I know you're going to be a little shithouser. I can deal with that. If it was for a game or two, I can just in the aspects of getting 3 points. And that actually might be something in game to help us as well in certain scenarios. The thing is, Kai's intelligent. You're not exactly amazing at anything. And who am I to say that? Because at the end of the day, you were bought for, whether I like it or not, you played for Arsenal, you were bought for 65 million, you was bought for mad money at Chelsea, you scored a Champions League winning goal, you've always played for your country, and I just think they see you as people see you as a Swiss Army knife. You're clearly intelligent, you can understand the system, which is why maybe managers have confidence. You can kind of plug and play you everywhere. But the problem is, we love doing this thing where we take squad players and make them regulars, or we take squad players and make them regulars, and we're surprised we don't get over the line. Put people in roles they can thrive. Look at Giroud. I do think people look at Giroud with rose tints at Arsenal, and I've got a lot of love for Giroud. But why do you think people are onto him? Because we tried to put the goal scoring burden on Giroud. Giroud should be another piece to the puzzle. I don't think he scored a damn goal for France at international level when they won the World Cup. But no, anyone that watched that World Cup, one of the most important players, bringing all the other players into play. Chelsea kind of did the same. Lump it to Giroud. To be fair, Giroud would, you know what? Giroud, ironically, Arteta's former teammate, apart from Gyökeres, Giroud would probably have been the perfect kind of striker for him. But you lump it into Giroud. Giroud holds off, man, brings people in, and his technical level was great as well. Gives it to Havertz, dance past people, happy as Larry. We're looking at Giroud to be the guy. And to be fair, I got a lot of love for Giroud. I'm surprised he hasn't sold the rights to his life. Really, his life is like a movie. Like, really, I've said it before, innit? But Puskas, record number of goals for France, won the league in France, played for AC Milan, done his thing. He's always had to react to adversity in a nice way. I've got a lot of time for Giroud, and I think people like Giroud and Koscielny sum up Arsene Wenger's legacy of trusting people. But Yeah. Now, I'm not rewriting history on Giroud. I'm definitely not. As I said, did I not say people look at Giroud with rose tints at Arsenal? Did I not say we were relying on you to be the goal scorer? Let me be a bit specific then. We're relying on you to get 20 league goals. We're relying on you to replace Robin van Persie. We all know about that barren spell in front of goal where Ozil's creating a bag of chances. We all remember Bayern Munich. How can I be revising it if I'm literally saying we're putting somebody in boots they can't feel and we're shocked? Giroud's better than Havertz. Let's cut the crap, bro. Let's not talk like Giroud's a dickhead. Very intelligent. So if that's rewriting history, it must be. Man even played left back for Germany. That tells you everything. Is the larger issue creating chances or moving or a faster moving attack? I feel like an emphasis is placed on holding the ball longer versus attacking speed. I'd say it's both because they kind of interlap, man. Top most points in a calendar year if we don't win usually. And again, that tells me there's little things to be positive about. We're not shit. But you can have the most points in a calendar year. That's ideal scenario. What did you win when the league feels like whatever? Did you win the league? That's the scenario we're at now. I'm more than happy. Oh, great defensive statistics, most points, all these things. Who don't want to see the team there? But we need this because this tells me we're a good team. If you add up all these little things people waffle about, we're a fucking good team. Show the world. People think Arsenal fans are unbearable. Wait, I'll say when we win stuff, I'll show you fucking unbearable because you lot talk way too much. If Magalhaes keeps going down injured, then I hope Kiwi fans are right about him. DJ, are you concerned about the injuries from last season having an impact on performances this season? Naturally, I'm still battered and bruised from last season, and I still think where that team, you take one or two key players out and the absence is felt because we have to move other people around and yeah, it just looks like square pegs and round holes. Arteta invites people and for dinner, I think you mean, and asks them to share between one pack of biscuits. Nah, I don't think that's fair, man. I don't think that's fair. I hate to say it, but Madueke is our only hope on the left. Someone who can beat his man. Arteta, please mix it up. Do you think we could try to flipping out? That question was what you said there was tough in it. I wish I could disagree, man. Do you think we can try and get Rodrigo on loan with an obligation to buy if we're short on cash? Yeah, if we could. But what is Rodrigo actually saying? 1 minute you're leaving, then you're staying. Do we want to do that though? I'd love it. I agree with the logic 100%. But boy, what phase is Win the Dog in? Win the Dog's probably got puppies now. I don't know how old she is, but she's probably getting on a bit now. I still think we need a proper 8. Having a good 8 helps the whole midfield. The 8 could play as a 6 or a 10. Dane, I'm with you. It'd be lovely, but I've stopped wishing, man. Heinz as an assistant coach too makes no sense. We'll have to wait and see what's going on there. DJ, are you really confident Gyökeres would work under this gaffer? Yes and no. No, because obviously everybody's underperforming in attacking sense. I know people say Sesko fits the system, but what striker in this world is going to thrive with no chances being created? But then, yes, because it won't happen too many times, but you're going to refuse to not let it happen, man. To not let it work. Not work, if that makes sense. The players don't want to build attacks down the left. They're not confident in Martinelli and Trossard, but I blame the manager. He's supposed to fix it 2 years too long. For Arteta to have come right, he would have had to be given some coaching jobs when Wenger was still around. He's all Moyes, but with Pep's control, he switched off the Wenger attacking patterns. Madueke, Eze, Saka, Gyökeres is direct. That's what we need. But there has to be a willingness to go want to be direct, though. Left wing. I'm reading two things. I don't know why I'm reading Lewandowski point. Left wing more important than Eze. Do you agree? Havertz, Marino, Wanyeri can cover 8 plus Rice too. I think they're both important. I think they're both equally as important. But yes, we need to fix left wing immediately. I hope we do replace Trossard and Martinelli. If not, it will cost us the whole season. I trade Havertz for Ollie Watkins. Boy. DJ Arteta worked with Wenger and became a reborn David Moyes. What happened? I do think Arteta's forgotten that you've got to put your own DNA, or I have to believe that this is your DNA. Man said the conductor. Yeah, he is the conductor, naturally. I think Guy could actually work as a super sub, last 10 minutes, tied legs, maybe get his big head on the end of something. That's Kai's thing. Rotate, fill out. That's his thing. When we're trying to make you the main man, we're in issues. And one thing I'll give you credit for, Kai, not last season, the year before, yeah, when it's all said and done, I do admire the way you stood up to be counted and your level of consistency towards the end of the season. But come on, man. Like, these are not bad players. Man, are not necessarily good. Like, I need to look at my team. Gyökeres, X amount of goals. Saka, you're going to do this. Saka's not doing it. There's a little super sub. Because even Real Madrid, all them little stars that they got, still they might sell them, but you still got Ceballos. You still got Diaz. You've still had people, even when they used to have Nacho, you still had people that they could come in and just do a job or come in and make something happen. Liverpool with Origi. I don't think Origi's a legend to the way they might talk at Liverpool about Salah and Van Dijk and Mane and that. But he's in folklore for a reason. Guys like Origi probably only scored 7 goals. But 7 of those goals must have been, well, the 7 goals, it's a dramatic late win or it's a goal that gets you back in the game. It might be the Champions League winning goal. You get the point I'm going at, man. 60 million plus super sub, the bars in hell. It has to. To be fair, who told him to do that? Who told him to do that? Boy, what do you mean by that question? Do you think there's some exaggeration, especially with the result yesterday? I think we'll be fine, but the same issues were there to be. Of course, there's an overkill. There's clearly, obviously, it's not that they're valid because of the game and what we've seen and the legitimate talking points. But of course, have you not? Social media is always hyper opinions, but have you not seen, like, even the good players are getting cornered? People are just vexed, and unfortunately, yeah, that is gonna keep going. Like, that's gonna one year. Every week that we win, we're amazing. Everything's great. Oh my god. When we lose, oh, it's finished. That's the level of frustration we're in now. I still get upset. Why is this not coming up? I still get upset with Mikel. How does he not use all the attacking knowledge he had in the past? The guy needs to get Santi on the coach's stuff. Yeah, he's saying he's decided that Rice is our 8, but he's saying he could get with another one. Like, everyone's allowed an opinion, man. You don't have to bread everything. No, man, the coaching is ish. You don't have an offensive coach. My issues with Arteta are just purely in the final third. Like, the majority of them. I could have little isms and schisms. It's the final third. And unfortunately, goals win games, isn't it? And the hardest thing to do in life, well, the hardest thing to do in football, as they typically say, is scoring goals. For us, it might be buying a player that isn't at Chelsea, but you get the point. It is where it is, man. We just have to hope for the best. I'm never going to sit here and say, oh, it's going to be fine for the sake of it. I'm not going to just be negative for the sake of it. I think there's reasons to calm down. But ultimately, I haven't seen anything. And I will be really vocal on this point, 10, 11, 12 games into the season. Someone else is Rice a piano player? To be fair, he was previously a piano pusher, but he's been sneaking into the theatre and playing it every now and again. He's got a little tune now, and everyone's like, oh, rah, like the janitor. Are you actually good? Someone give him a contract. We're here for this. You can make a 5-piece band. But what's roadies mean? That's too gentrified for me. I don't know what that is. Last time we got over the line, Aubameyang was our striker. We can't afford terminate Calafiori's contract. We've been lacking in one department or another for the past decade. It's frustrating. If they don't want people to lose their minds, don't book a preseason friendly against Spurs where you could get 50,000 fans. And obviously, Arsenal as well as Spurs, they've got Asian markets. We all know why we go and do this stuff. It's obviously, yeah, what I hope it's for is to bring the game to the 4 corners of the world. People that can't exactly, on the weekend go and watch Arsenal. There's clearly an element of that. It's a money thing. The game's too globalized now to not be tapping into American markets, like specifically being on the ground, go in Asia, go in wherever. To be fair, you don't really hear tours around Africa, which that's my hot take. I think in the next 10 years, you're going to see that. And I think in the next 30 years, India will be a very interesting market as well. So I hope it's for that. But it's a money thing, man. North London Derby over there. Wow, oh my God. 50,000 stadium. I don't know how many tickets were sold. Greed. 100% it's because of that. Do you remember remember when we just played Barnet, or like teams would just play Barnet, Boreham Wood, maybe even play the under-21s in a friendly? Obviously, I understand it, but yeah, what I would say to Arsenal is, can we not play Newcastle and Spurs? I get it, tough test, but can we not play both of them? I know some people are doing too much. Some people are doing too much, in my opinion. Oh my God, you shouldn't be playing Spurs. They're going to clock how we play. I think that's foolishness. No one is going to clock how anybody plays already. If people wanted to clock, literally, even if you just wanted to assume they're going to clock for 90 minutes in Hong Kong how we play, if you're Thomas Frank and you did want to clock that and that was a concern of yours, would you just not watch the AC Milan and Newcastle games a couple of times, and it could tell you a bit about us? It don't make sense. It sounds cool, but it don't make sense. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. North London derby in Jamaica. Would love it. I don't think we got the facilities for that, but it would be a great time. It'd be a great time. I'd definitely have to go over there. If Liverpool sign Isaac, I feel a bit flat. It's like me showing off my new Porsche and the neighbor goes and buys a Ferrari. You know what? In life, that's what they say. Comparison is the thief of joy. DG, quick question. Who do you prefer? Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard, or Vieira? I can't believe you're asking me that question. I can't believe you're asking me that question. Patrick Vieira. If I can remove my Arsenal bias, it's still Patrick Vieira. If I cannot pick an Arsenal player, on ability and all that, Paul Scholes without a doubt. For Arsenal right now, actually, Frank Lampard. Goal scoring midfielder. We're eating, especially in the modern day. Eating. Aaron Ramsey on steroids. We're eating. Gerrard. I love Gerrard, man. I love Gerrard. I'd have Gerrard as well, man. Who wouldn't? I think Eze will do an Isaac and push for the move if Palace play hardball. Arsenal know he wants to move, so are calm. I don't think it's gonna get to that though. I don't think it's gonna get to that. I don't think he's gonna get to that, if I'm honest. Problem with his only preseason excuse is that it bleeds into the actual season. Next it's only the first 5 games, then it's but you can't win the league in 10 games. But that's the thing. I think the stupidest thing I've heard for Arsenal fans, there's 2 stupid things I've heard in the last 3 years. One stupid thing, and it was peddled out by people that are a bit disingenuous, was I'm happy we've gone out the cup so we can focus on the league. Okay, make sure you win the league. The dumbest thing I heard last season was, we're saving ourselves for the second half of the season. I'm sorry. Do you think the players are saying that and Arteta is saying that? And in what world does it make sense? From August to September from August to the end of the year, we're saving ourselves. Can you afford to do that? You can't go into games saying I'm only going to play at 60% because we got to play North London derby in February of the next year. It's not making sense. There's certain things. It sounds cool. But when you actually listen to what's being said, it's not making sense. I was surprised how many of the fans in the stadium had the new kit. All of them copped the new kit. Brother, never doubt our ability to make peace. Roadies are the men that move the band's equipment, the guitars. Okay, so the band boys, for my Arsenal band, you need more than 5, man. For me, it's Bakayo, Magalhaes, Saliba, Lewis Skelly, Timber, Declan Rice. Fuck it, Max Dowman, Wanyeri, you man are part of it now. You're part of the band's academy. The roadies are everyone else, man. DJ, how do you think Gyökeres could do? Not watched him. The time I watched the game, though, it looks so good. Robotic is training the confidence of players. We need a new manager. Even Cesc, I'd take. I don't think we can draw any conclusions on Gyökeres 15 minutes. I'll be brutally honest. I don't think you can. You don't think you can. Saving yourself like we're waiting till marriage. Waiting till marriage for what, boy? Gerrard is the greatest English mid ever. It's got a shout, not for me, but I think that's Scholes. But hear it, DG, Lacazette or Eduardo. Eduardo for me. Yeah, no players. Bro, Jay. Is it Jay? It's an idiot thing. Like, this is the nonsense. This is like it's not making sense. You can't afford to. Like, and the thing is, them people that will say that, they will say every game's a cup final. The Premier League is relentless. So how can you save yourself? How can you save yourself? This ain't like Usain Bolt in the qualifying heats. Okay, cool. You know he's just gonna get through the real race. It's a madness. DG trying to make sense of the topic schooners. It's not making sense. I'm not saying that. I just like common conversations with a bit of common sense. It's not making sense. It's the Jacksons, man. It's the label, man. It's G Unit. It's the label. Everyone's getting signed. One of my favorite players of all time outside of Omri is Gerrard. My non-Arsenal favorite Premier League players. Well, to be fair, things change. If I had to name 5 non-Arsenal, Rooney. And favorite doesn't care about ability. Wayne Rooney, David Beckham, Didier Drogba. I want to say a name, but I don't know if I should put you in this. I would say Joe Cole, but I'm going to hold fire. Eden Hazard. Fucking hell, Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard. He's a bit of a prick as a pundit, but Rio Ferdinand. There's many more, man. Kevin, Gerrard. It's difficult when you put yourself on the spot, man. You actually have to think. Van Nistelrooy, Cristiano, of course. Czech, Van der Sar, Luis Suarez. Fucking hell, Suarez. Sterling. You know what? Not in them levels, but Trent and Carl Walker, like, you get your hail ups. Carlos Tevez, Berbatov. Trying to think, man. I'm missing out bare names, man. I'm actually trying to think. Yakubu, Viduka. I don't know why, but Andrew Johnson. There's couple, man. There's couple. I said non-Arsenal, man. I said Mustafi. Yaya Toure. Oh, God, forgive me. Mascherano. I don't know why, but Mascherano and Tevez just for being at West Ham, like that little great escape thing. You don't even see that anymore. The relegation races are dead. Like, no one, even when teams beat the drop, it's like they're losing every week. There's all like 15 games left. Now they get their act together. There's no great escapes. Relegation battles are not even funny. Football's become too woke. There's no real title race. There's no real title race. There's no real relegation race. The game's gone, man. The game's gone, man. Bale, yeah, Sergio, Pedersen. Nah, Andrew Johnson for the culture. That's my guy. Berbatov lit. I'm an Arsenal fan as well, so it's easy to like certain non-Arsenal England players. There's one that I do want to say, but you know what he did to everyone, man. I can't sit here and say these things. Man said S Club 7. Would you rather Sesko go United or Newcastle? Newcastle, because I actually rate Sesko. I think he'd be all right. Don't want him to go to United, but I will enjoy pissing off United fans because then, Benjamin Tesco. Do you see in life why you got to stay humble? Because now you got to pretend you rate him. He will be all right for you, but now you have to pretend that he's lit. Now you actually have to, or you think he's lit. Andrew Johnson, hey, bro, cold celebration, fam. There's a couple reballs I like it. There's a couple reballs. Part G Sung, big game player. I used to hate Van Nistelrooy. He was a twat. But I'm only saying that because he's on the other side. I'm trying to think of other names, man. There's bear, man. No, not really. Let me not lie. Modric, no. No, not Modric. When you went Real Madrid, it was cool to like you. So over there, Xabi Alonso. I do think Xabi Alonso was slightly inconsistent for Liverpool, but I personally feel Xabi Alonso only got his flowers from British-based fans when they saw, obviously, how he was manoeuvring abroad. We should have got him. Michael Carrick, very underrated. With Michael Carrick, has to be there. St. Maximin, not for me, man. Not for me. Craig Bellamy, to be fair, Craig Bellamy is gone. Jermaine Defoe, Aaron Lennon for the culture, purely for the culture. They thought us signing Sesko was going to be a joke thing. Sesko is about potential, but you know, football fans, David Silva. Mamma mia, Juan Mata, David Silva. Anyone, all them 6 Spanish players, if they've ever been in the Prem, all them ones there, including the ones that were at Arsenal. You know he's a nonce. Huh? We can't be talking about the same guy. We're not talking about the same guy. Tommy, I don't know what you're talking about. This is who I'm talking about, fella. This is who I'm talking about, fella. Weren't the best, but I used to go to a lot of my uncle RIP used to take me big football. One of the big reasons I'm a big football fan is because of my uncle, and he's from South. He used to take me Crystal Palace all the time. I still got one of the programs, man. I think they're in League One, Championship, whatever, when they played Southend. I don't know, Tommy. Well, you're talking about Adam. Man tried it. Gave me goosebumps, you know. I was about to say, what? How can we career done? Jimmy Floyd, 30. Zaha. Big him up, but I wouldn't even say, for the culture, big him up, but I wouldn't put him in that realm for me. Good player, bloody good footballer, but nah. Yeah, the other guy was a nonce, to be fair, but I was, just to reiterate, this is who I was talking about. This is who I was talking about. And Yeah, bloody hell, it was a horrible one. The ops are getting Sesko. Why they worried he's proper? No, I can't lie. I hope he stinks at the place. I hope he stinks at the place. The biggest concern is that we are seeing the same defensive patterns as last season. Now with Heinzer on board, I feel we'll be even more conservative. Gyökeres needs a quick transition. Yep, we throughout this live stream, we've all been saying the same thing. I just came in. What's the convo? But to be fair, we were doing nostalgia, man. Already fans hating on the club and Arteta's football is a long road and the results will come at the end. I hope they do come at the end. I'm not advocating any hate for anyone, but fans can be unhappy as long as it's rational. I'm not just going to bury my head in the sand and say everything's going to be okay for no reason. Not everything that is blowing hot smoke up Mikel Arteta and Arsenal's arse is not negative, really. I thought this was a democracy. I didn't know it was a silent dictatorship. Adel Tarat, not for me, but baller. But favorite? No. Baller, fucking baller, 100%. You're not catching them footballers again. This is why I hope Ryan Cherky works, but not too much because of where he's gone. But yeah, people, man, I can't lie. It's lunchtime. So yeah, appreciate you lot being here. Everything you lot do for the platform. We're rapidly getting close to 70k. We're going to keep going. Appreciate you lot. Even you lot that obviously I've just been silently listening. Appreciate the conversations, the differences of opinions and all those kind of things, man. And extra big up to you lot if you've been part of both of my live streams today, because big up Dan. Make sure you're following Dan Potts. He's closing on 50k. He was here earlier. I'm on his channel next week, Friday. Same-ish time between 12 and 1. So yeah, man. Good news, I finally put the finishing touches on the Gyökeres stuff, people. So that video will come out over the weekend. Well, I've kind of left it the same even because he only got 15 minutes. But you get the point, man. So yeah, man. Hope you lot had a great July. Happy new month. Big up you lot. See you lot in a bit, man. Your boy's hungry though, man.
Like